Hey guys, so DE Vertigo was just introduced to the competitive map pool, replacing Cache in the active duty pool, and right now it's a fairly underdeveloped map. The reason I'm making this video is that I hope that Vertigo will evolve in the same way my favorite map Overpass did when it first entered the pool. So I'm going to be going over some of the things I think could be improved with this current iteration of the map. So as you might have realized, Vertigo is a really small map. I'm not sure if it's physically small, but it definitely feels small when you play it. And the reason for this is because the map control is essentially fixed for both sides. There isn't much of an opportunity for unique map control. For example, the counter-terrorists, when they spawn, will go to B site, but won't really be able to peek any further than into B ramp room, since the terrorists have the better timing on the area. They'll be able to peek this angle, right here, and stop the CT push every time. So the terrorists basically get all of this underpass hauls for free at the start of the round. In short, the basis of control of the CTs and Ts are too close together, which creates no gray area zones for the two sides to fight over. So the sides can't really take control without a huge commitment or a full commit execute in the case of the terrorist side. The only part of the map that can really be contested at all is A ramp, because of how the timing works out. But there's still not really any chance for CTs to take control of the room down at the bottom of the ramp. They really only can get a pick there and run away, because this area is just too T-sided. Once they get one pick, they have to unpeak, and then the terrorists can control the entire forklift room. This brings me to something I do like, which is that there is this elevator door above the bridge that rewards a counter-terrorist who is able to take control of this mid-hallway area somehow. Right now, it's not that useful, because the mid-halls area is just too much of a T stronghold, as you can see, as the terrorists spawn right here, and get to this angle in just about 5 seconds, as you can see. So there's not enough possibility of control for the CT side, but I think that would be an interesting aspect to the area if it were fleshed out. The problem with this is that middle is not fleshed out in its current state. The counter-terrorists have a lot of really good options for mid. They have so many angles that they can hold. They have so many options around this concrete bag area, around this corner, behind this pile of metal here. You can even go on top of this wood pile if someone boosts you. Or if you have an op, you can hold this angle right here. And none of this is even mentioning the fact that you can just smoke, or you can bounce off smoke off of this right here and take full control mid. This makes it far too difficult for the terrorist side to ever contest mid. There isn't really a good safe Molotov lineup for the back of the concrete bags as far as I can tell, which is a shame because the map makers even put these gaps in the ceiling tiles, which I assume are for grenade lineups, but there's no real way to Molotov behind the concrete bags. Of course, none of this would matter at all if there was another avenue of getting into mid. On Cache, there's a Heaven boost, on Mirage, there's Underpass, but here there just isn't enough options for the terrorists. Not to mention, maps like Mirage and Dust 2 favor the terrorist side already with the timings, while Vertigo doesn't. The cutout in the wall between mid and B could also use some changing, and possibly a location shift, because as it currently stands, it's not incredibly useful for anything. It's too easy for terrorists rushing B to punish a person playing in the cutout, as unpeaking from the angle essentially acts as a kill, since that person now can't really help with holding the bomb site, since they're forced off the angle and thus off the edge. It's not useful for holding mid either, for similar reasons, since you basically have to fall off after you get peeked, along with the fact that it's really easy to get picked off from B ramp without a trade using this method. And of course, 1-for-1 trades favor the terrorists. It's not useful for grenades, since you can generally just chuck stuff over the walls anyways, like so. So that's why I think that this cutout could use a big change to make it a lot more useful and interesting for competitive gameplay. Speaking of grenades, another issue with the map's size is the fact that there isn't really anywhere you can throw set piece smokes as a terrorist, except for T-spawn. It is nice that they give you skylights to line everything up, so you can do execute smokes like this. Like this. Watch my other video for the smokes. But the problem with this is that it's just way too easy. If you can throw all these smokes from here, and just execute onto a site immediately, it just negates the necessity to take any map control at all. A terrorist team could just have one person watching for this mid door push, have 4 people immediately throwing smokes out of spawn, and then rushing towards one of the 2 sites. It's just too one-dimensional. This criticism applies to both sites, but is especially prevalent on the B site, where the 2 bases of control for the Ts and CTs are so close to each other that there really isn't any other option other than to rush. One more thing I don't like about this map is that there just aren't enough corridors to take sites from. B only has B ramp, A only has A hall, and mid only has the one mid entrance. Everywhere could benefit from more options because the mix-ups are what make a map interesting. Not every site needs more entrances, but at least make mid a more important part of the map to allow it to serve as another entrance into sites. One thing I'm interested in seeing is how Valve decides to evolve this map, because right now it's kind of hard to visualize how to change it. I'm not really sure if Valve is open to literally making the building itself bigger and wider, but if not, we're going to have to think about using verticality more to achieve the goals we want with this map. I guess the map is called Vertigo, and the verticality of the map is what gave it its charm in the first place. For those who don't know, Vertigo used to have this massive lower section that people could use to access different parts of the map. I'm kind of sad that Valve removed it instead of tweaking it, and I'd like to see Valve playing with it again, or at least playing with some kind of verticality aspect. So to talk now about what specifically I would want to change, for the B side of the map, I would really like for just generally more space between the B site and T-spawn. Maybe create some winding passages in the big open space between T-spawn and B site, since that area is mostly going to be unused as of now. Maybe create some scaffolding outside that creates a second entrance onto B site. Whatever it is though, something should be done here to make gameplay more interesting, because I think B site is the weakest area of the map. Now at middle, I would consider opening up a new passage here as well, right next to the old one. Maybe just open this wall up here or something and divide current mid hallway into two sections. The elevator shaft will become a part of the longer side mid corridor, while the busted out wall here would become the new main mid entrance. If I were Valve, I would consider making the side corridor a squeaky door. I would move the entrance for this new squeaky hall over here, and maybe make it a bit longer of a walk for the terrorists, because in its current state it's too easy for terrorists to control. CTs being able to contest elevator shaft control at the start of the round would be really interesting, although I would recommend still keeping it mostly T-sided, because of how powerful the position is. I'm imagining kind of like squeaky halls on Cache, where counter-terrorists can contest it sometimes but not consistently. I would move this cutout over to deeper into the site, possibly over here, which would make it safer to use and could maybe even spawn some cool boosts into the B ramp area for the CTs to contest more of the map. I would also be interested in the A site having another entrance, but a much weaker one. Maybe something like a ladder in the corner, accessible by another hallway on the lower level of the map, and have a hallway that's contestable by both sides. I'm imagining like Connector Hall and Overpass. Or, since Cobblestone is out for good now, maybe it's time to bring back the drop zone and create that somewhere towards the A side of the map, although I'm not quite sure how that would even work. One more minor thing, when I saw the metal hanging off the crane, I got a bit excited about the possibilities of throwing grenades off it. Unfortunately, grenades actually pass right through it. Plus, it's not in a very useful location anyways. It would be really cool if the crane was moved somewhere where it could be used for smokes or flashes or anything. That's it guys, I hope this has been an interesting video. I'm currently working out DE Vertigo smokes, and I've already made a video with all the B smokes I could find from T-spawn, so you should go check that out. Please like and subscribe, thanks for watching.